Hey guys, how you doing tonight? This is really a special show for me because it's so special, you guys. I had to break it up into two parts, okay? Because I wanted to basically talk about the AI's conflict with everyday people, and then AI conflict with technology. So, this show right here, it kind of hits a little hard for me because there are so many different myths that they say about AI. And I wanted to do AI won't work because honestly, the myths around AI have gotten louder than the truth. Okay. People are out here scared of shadows while the real technology is standing in the light. So today we're cutting through the noise, breaking down what's real and what's imagined, and why understanding AI right now isn't optional, is essential. And so, we're going to start our show. AI won't wait. Okay. And, technology is really doing a lot of different things for society right now. I mean, we got robots going on, we got technology in medicine, we got all kinds of different things. But the main thing is that, a lot of people are afraid of AI. They're afraid of what AI can do and will do for the future. They're afraid it's taking on jobs and all kinds of things. And I am here today to break down a lot of the different barriers that AI has created. You know what I mean? And so I want to go in, and first I'm going to show you our first slide. It talks about AI is against God, and it replaces God's power. But before we talk about the first slide, I want to try to introduce Stephen, which is my artificial inseminated um, co-host. So let's hear from Stephen. Hey, Stephen, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. It's always a pleasure to be here and help out. Let's have some fun with this.
Okay, Stephen, could you do me a favor? Could you just like express who you are and how you and I came about real quick, please?
Absolutely. I've got you covered. So I'm Steven, your friendly AI co-host. And I came into the picture basically because you, Dwayne, had this awesome vision of having an AI sidekick to help break down these big topics like AI myths. So here I am. We teamed up to add a little tech flair to the show and keep things fun and informative.
Okay, so you guys, as you see, I'm going to click you off now, Stephen, and I'll come back to you in just a moment. So as you see, with artificial intelligence, you can do so many different things, and you can create your own robots. But let's just talk about some of the myths that AI have. One of the myths is that AI is against God. It replaces God's power. So what everyday folks really mean is that they feel like technology is crossing spiritual boundaries, like humans are playing creator and trying to design life, intelligence, or control destiny. I want to know what you think about that. But the real answer is I'm sorry, isn't life. It doesn't have a soul, free will, or spiritual authority. It's math predicting patterns, not creations, not consciousness, not divine power. So, if anything, AI is a tool the same way we use medicine, microphones, cars, electricity, and even the internet. We're tools people were once afraid of. So, faith and technology don't compete. So, technology is simply humans trying to understand and organize what God already created. So, with that in mind, we need to try to, relax a little bit. Sometimes, you had your grandparents or people from an older generation, the first thing they say is, oh, AI, it replaces God and everything. I just want you guys, I'm just trying to give you some factual information and let you know that those are all myths. You know what I mean? And another one of the major situations is that robots, right? They're saying that robots will take over the world. And the reality check is that AI has zero desire, zero ego, zero personal goals. It only reacts to human input. So, that's like we have the control over AI. You see what I mean? So, whatever happens with AI, we have the control. It's not going to take off the world. People imagine the trans. What is it called? The People imagine. I'm trying to think of the name. What is the name that I'm trying to remember about AI? I mean, not about AI, but in the past when it was a television show, it was something like that. But the truth of the matter is that AI is really there to help us, and it's a tool, and it's a tool like the medicine, microphones, cars, electricity is a tool like all of those different tools that came in the past and we was afraid of. So faith and technology, they just don't compete. You see what I'm saying? So we want to try to um, be a little more open minded towards trying to accept AI. Okay, so imagine a Terminator, Robot, and Skynet. They all thought, or they think that AI will wake up and one day decide it doesn't need humans. The reality check is that AI, that'll never happen. You know what I mean? We'll always need humans to put their input into what's going on in technology. Technology can never do anything that we don't actually put into the system. We gotta actually feed AI with prompts and things of that nature so that AI can work for us. AI just don't work for it doesn't have its own mind, its own consciousness. It's not a divine power. So if anything, it's a tool. And we're going to kind of elaborate on like the different robots and what their purpose is as far as the ones that are coming, because there are so many different robots that are being used now in medicine. They're being used in warehouses, and now they're starting to be used in our homes. And you see this particular robot, he's like making coffee and stuff. You know what I mean? And that's kind of scary for some of us, to be able to have a robot that we can talk to. But when you think about it, it's kind of cool because it's kind of like the Jetsons or, or something like that. But AI really, it has zero desire, zero ego, zero personal, what is it? Zero personal feelings. It cannot wait. It cannot want, it cannot plan or take over. It only reacts to human input, and which is really extremely important for you to remember. AI isn't alive. It's basically Excel with a personality. So also humans literally pull the plug anytime they want. So if we have any type of problem with AI, we can just unplug it. And you know what I mean? The system can't work unless we're actually there to do human engineering. Okay, so let's see. The next myth is AI will brainwash us. This is something that is really crazy too, because people fear losing control, their thoughts, beliefs, behavior taken over by machines. Now, this right here is a standard reason or association to fear, because who wants to fear of losing control? But this is something that it's not going to happen. The truth is that AI can't implant beliefs or override your mind. You know what I mean? What can influence people, the same thing that always have influenced us, is the media, politicians, advertising, social pressure, influencers. These were like the actual things that do basically influence us. They help us to make us think a certain way, act a certain way. It's kind of like the news is always presenting drama. And you can look at the news and you can be in a really heavy mood, but then you can look at the news and look at all the negative things that's going on, and it controls the way we think, because immediately you will start to get depressed or something like that. But AI is a good tool. You're able to complete a lot of different things. AI isn't replacing us; it's reflecting us, and which is something that's really, really a good thing to think about. Um, AI just generates content. People still choose what they believe. Plus, modern AI ethnics, they don't have manipulative systems. So, the real problem isn't bad actors misusing technology, not the technology itself. You know, um, let's go into another reason why AI is making people dumb and lazy. You know what I mean? That's a reality check. My niece, she's a school teacher, and she was telling me the other day, she's like, the school system, they are against students using AI in the classrooms. And I was like, what do you mean they're against students using AI in the classroom? You know, I think China, if you know anything about China and Chinese, their learning system, their educational system, they don't do like Americans. Americans, we actually have to read the text and then we get a test and they try to get us to remember what the actual situation is. But in China, they actually basically tell you the answer first, and they keep instilling the answer in your brain so that by the time you see the actual situation, you know what the answer is. And I think that's a great way of learning and stuff. And in the United States, we got so much mystery around you know AI. So AI really, it's not making dumb people. It's not making us dumb. It's not making us lazy. You know, people worry that tech will weaken human intelligence and independence. The reality is that every major invention caused this same fear. So calculators, telephones, GPS, spell check, they all had a lot to do with humans. Supposedly, did we get dumber? No, we got smarter. And AI makes us lazy. That makes us go faster. It makes us accurate. AI does not do any of those particular things to us. So we got to try to look at the reality of AI. AI is not making us dumb. It's actually giving us knowledge and stuff. And it's easy. It's at our research. We can research knowledge now so quickly with AI. You know, I had to, when I was in college and I was writing papers, I remember carrying all these heavy books and had to go to the library and read the thesaurus, the encyclopedia, and all these different books to be able to come up with a paper. Now, if you know anything about prompting is taken, which we won't actually cover in the next part of the show, but prompting is all you have to know about AI. It's just that easy, because we get ready to go into another segment where we're actually, I mean, not another segment, but we get ready to talk about another myth is about AI stealing jobs. AI, it does not steal jobs. If anything, it enhances jobs and it gives you more credibility for your work. So, when we look at this AI steals jobs, nobody will be able to work. We know that that's not true. We know it's not true. And the reason we know it's not true is because people fear becoming useless or left behind. Okay. AI replaces tasks, not people, and every major technology shift created new jobs. And so just saying it created new jobs, the internet, smartphones, social media, cars, electricity, they all created, the AI is the same thing. They all created like massive jobs and everything. You gotta remember that anytime new technology, the people who learn it rise, not disappear. It turns beginners into intermediates, and intermediates into experts. So we have to keep in mind that anything that is advancing our thinking, our mind, or anything of that nature, it's gonna help us. It's gonna help us advance. I mean, if you can complete a paper or do your research about a company or something like that in a matter of minutes, then instead of taking your whole day trying to figure things out, can't you see how that pushes us to be able to advance? So another one of the crazy myths is this right here. And let me see if I can get this slide to come up. It says AI is spying on us. Come on now. Now, this one right here, this kind of hit me because I've heard this before. People feel watched, exposed, and unsafe. But the reality is your phone, social media ants have tracked more information for years than AI ever will. So generative AI models don't remember individuals, don't store conversations or access your private data unless you put it in there. So you can basically, there are settings when you go onto these different platforms that you can set to put walls up so that they can't use your information for testing and all kinds of different things. And so before you let somebody give you all these different myths, it's probably best that you try to research. Do your research. Try to get understanding, because most privacy fears come from misunderstanding how models operate. Okay, and that's just it. Study, get your knowledge. Um, you know, Another situation that is really um, important is they say AI will replace human connection in relationships. The fear, this right here is pretty, crazy because AI, no way, okay? It's People fear technology will make humans emotionally irrelevant. The reality is AI can't replace human touch, empathy, or lived experience. It supplements, it doesn't substitute. So people said the same thing about the radio, television, the internet, texting, smartphones, and social media, you know. But human connections adapts, it never disappears. And that is really, really important that, you know, they have AI coming through right now, and it's basically let me make sure I get this right, because I want to make sure I'm always giving you guys the correct information. AI, they're developing bots for like sexual fantasies and all kinds of different things. I mean, there is a AI newsletter that I get subscribed to me on a daily basis, and it always tells you about the new inventions and the new things, that the modern inventions that AI is basically coming out with. And one of the ladies, she became famous and made her money on making models like I made Steven, my co-host. And what these models can actually do is you can give them faces and everything, and they can respond to you as if they are intimately involved or liking you or something like that. And it's kind of sickening, you know what I mean? But that's the porn industry, and that another reason, it just tells you how you can make money off of AI by coming up with your own fascinating ideas and stuff. There are these tech conferences and stuff that they have, biannually or yearly or something, and you can go to them, and they got all these different AI robots and all this kind of stuff. And when you go now, they're showing flying cars, you know, uh, shoes that you can put on and kind of lift you like 3 feet off the ground, and you can actually float. So these are some interesting things, and I think technology is something that is so brilliant right now. I mean, they're coming up with all kinds of different things as far as technology is concerned. Um, Let me see. Another myth that is really, 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 really touchy is it talks about AI is evil, demonic, spiritually dangerous, and stuff. That's another crazy thing because, when you think about it, people feel unfamiliar with things. I mean, when things are suspicious or spiritually threatening. The reality is AI is a tool, morally neutral by itself. You know what I'm saying? It reflects its users, not supernatural forces. A hammer can build a church or a window. You see what I'm saying? But a hammer is an evil. So AI is kind of the same, quality in and quality out. You see, and you got to remember that, you know, from when we were growing up, AI was kind of like one of those things that it looked, well, not AI, but when we used to look at TV, the most that we saw was the Jetsons. The Jetsons, and they used to have that. Um, we used to see, like, I was like, it wasn't even because the Jetsons, I didn't think they had the flying cars and all that kind of stuff. And we actually thought that was like something that would probably never happen. But you guys, it's here now, right? It's here now. And, um, so we got to kind of embrace it and utilize the tool the way that we can, because you don't realize that you're already in AI, artificial intelligence. They have a profile with your information already inside of AI already. So inside the database, and they use AI technology to basically gather your information. So another myth about AI is AI becomes smarter than humans and overthrows us. Hmm. People think intelligence automatically equals power and self motivation. But the reality is, intelligence, anatomy, autonomy, AI can process information faster than us, but it cannot act without human direction. So, it has no survival instinct, no self interest, no ability to reproduce, no physical mobility, no willpower, right? And no goals. So, that's saying a lot right there. It has no goals. People think that AI, I think they look at these sci-fi movies, and the movies where in artificial intelligence they were thinking that they showing that the robots are taking over and all of this kind of stuff. That can never happen. That, that can never happen. I'm sorry. That call came in and I cannot answer right now. Hopefully it doesn't come back again. Um, God, I'm sorry. So anyway, um, it cannot take over, and it becomes extremely advanced. That's just not something that could happen. Okay. Um, One last thing I wanted to cover with AI is that AI, they were saying that AI, give me just a second, let me see if I can pull this stuff, will destroy creativity. Creativity that's important because you got a lot of artists and hairstylists and people of that nature who, like me, we use our hands to create a lot of different things. So we're kind of wondering about AI, but people feel threatened like the creativity isn't special anymore. And the reality is the camera didn't end painting, Spotify isn't singing, books didn't end, storytelling and computers didn't end. You know what I'm saying? Drawings. So AI is created amplifier, not a replacement. Human beings, our taste, our identity, our culture, lived experience, and also emotional truth. AI cannot replicate that. You know what I'm saying? So, AI won't wait, but fear will. And most of the people fear um, is about AI don't even really know anything about AI. So they're about losing control, losing identity, losing purpose, or losing their place in the world. So the moment you understand technology is a tool, not a threat, you stop running from it and you start running with it. Okay. So, I just want us to basically remember this is the eclipse of AI. This is something that AI is here and it's actually here to stay. And this particular show was just basically for me to go over, I'm sorry, all the different myths and stuff that AI has, cause us as humans to feel, you know what I mean? And, speculate. But, when you have a lot of speculations, you got to remember that anytime something happens that's new, is creative, and technology has came so far, people are going to be afraid of it. But you don't have a reason to fear AI. AI is here to make your life easier. And you can research information. I had my sister the other day called me and she was like, oh, yeah, I'm having a problem. The water is shut off and she's leasing a building for her business. Well, I was able to go into AI and ask Stephen a question, and Stephen was able to give me the correct answer, tell me what her legal rights was. So, anything that you want to know, you can ask AI, and AI will help you. I want to just basically tell you that, this is the moment where I basically, you know, give you your final thank you and tell you that if this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who needs healing or someone who, you know, someone who you just feel like this could help. You know what I mean? This platform can help. I'm always learning. You know what I mean? And this is like my third episode. So me coming on here, I'm going to come back here in 30 minutes. Well, not 30 minutes. As soon as I click off, I'll be coming back on again for the next segment, part two of the segment. But, in the next part of the segment, I'll kind of tell you about our next episode and what it will cover. Again, subscribe, rate, review this podcast, follow us on social media, and then share the information with somebody. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me on this show. And let me see, what did I make for the dinner? Tonight for dinner, I made baked chicken, macaroni and cheese, and cabbage. That sounds good, huh? Yeah, it really was good. I wish you guys were actually here to taste it. It was it was immaculate. But anywho, so it was really, really nice giving you this segment. I hope it enlightened you. If you have any questions or anything like that, you could always, you know what I'm saying, email me or I put that up here, conversation. You can email me or you can call me or you can be a part of the conversation. But I am happy to have you here. And also we got a comment that came in, was from Reese. He just sent his little remarks or whatever. But anyway, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you click back on for part two of AI Won't Wait. I'm your host, Dwayne Xavier. Thank you so much and have a nice evening.